First time posting here. Sorry for the wall of text, there's a lot to unpack. Throwaway because my wife knows my main account. I, 36M, have been married to my wife, 33F, for 9 years. We met at a university cultural event. She was an exchange student from Malaysia, and I was a local computer science major. Despite the cultural differences, we clicked immediately. She was vibrant, ambitious, and honestly way out of my league. We dated for 2 years before getting married right after graduation. Now we have 3 kids, 7M, 5F, 3M, and live in a nice suburban area. I work remotely as a senior software developer, and she teaches at a local preschool. Our life looked perfect on paper until after our 3rd child was born. My wife struggled with severe postpartum depression. She gained about 45 pounds during pregnancy and couldn't lose it despite trying. She became extremely self-conscious, often avoiding mirrors and refusing to be in family photos. She'd cry looking at her old pictures and stopped going out with our mutual friends. It killed me seeing her so unhappy. I tried everything I could think of. I got her a gym membership, suggested yoga classes, even found a local mom's walking group. She showed zero interest. If anything, my suggestions seemed to make her feel worse. I felt helpless watching her spiral. Then I remembered how much she loved K-pop. Back in college, she'd always talk about Korean dance routines and show me her favorite music videos. While searching local activities, I found a K-pop dance studio offering beginner classes. It took 3 weeks of gentle encouragement, but she finally agreed to try one class. That was 2 years ago. The transformation was incredible. She lost all the pregnancy weight and found her confidence again. She progressed from beginner to advanced classes and even performs in their showcases. I was genuinely happy for her, proud to see her passionate about something again. But over the last 8 months, things have shifted. She's made close friends at the studio, mostly single women in their mid-20s. What bothers me isn't their age or status, but the fact that my wife pretends to match their lifestyle. She hasn't told any of them about being married or having kids. I discovered this accidentally while using her phone to order takeout, with her permission. Her Instagram was open, showing comments from her dance friends about living that single life and hot girl summer. Her profile has 0 photos of our family. Even her profile picture is a solo dance shot. She never corrects their assumptions about her being single. Initially, classes were just Saturday mornings, perfect for our schedule. I'd watch the kids, she'd get her dance time, everyone was happy. Now she goes 4 to 5 times per week, each session taking 4 to 5 hours with travel. She started staying for group dinners after class, usually texting me last minute that she'll be late. I'm left handling dinner, homework, and bedtime for 3 young kids while managing a demanding full-time job. When I mention feeling overwhelmed, she gets defensive. Says I should be supportive of her only hobby, that being a mom doesn't mean she can't have a life. I agree completely, I want her to have interests and friends. But why does that require pretending we don't exist? The hardest part is seeing how different she is with them. Through photos and videos she shares, she's constantly laughing, making silly faces, joining TikTok dances. Her whole personality seems lighter, more carefree. At home, she's always been the serious one. She rolls her eyes when I make funny voices reading bedtime stories or dance around making breakfast. I can't remember the last time she laughed like that with us. Last month really tested my patience. Her studio planned filming sessions every Saturday for their winter showcase. I spent 4 consecutive Saturdays solo parenting from 8 a.m. until past bedtime. My job involves long hours of coding and problem solving. Weekends are usually my recovery time. But I wanted to support her passion, so I stepped up without complaining. Now they're having a viewing party in December. I assumed we'd watch her performance together at home like previous videos. Then I saw on the studio's Instagram that it's a big party where other members are bringing partners. My wife never mentioned it. When I asked, she said she assumed I wouldn't want to come since I don't know anyone. Only after I pressed did she reluctantly invite me. Her invitation felt forced, like she'd rather I stay home. I'll admit I'm not the most outgoing person. Years of coding and remote work have made me more introverted. I've developed some insecurities too. My hair is thinning, I've gained dad weight, my wardrobe is more practical than fashionable. Meanwhile, my wife looks amazing. She's often mistaken for being in her 20s, especially around her young, attractive, fashionable dance friends. I worry she's embarrassed of having an aging, awkward husband. To be absolutely clear, I don't suspect cheating. The classes are strictly women only and we share locations on Life 360. She's never given me reason to doubt her faithfulness. I just miss my wife. I miss feeling like her partner rather than an obligation she has to check in with. I miss seeing her eyes light up when she looks at me instead of her phone full of dance group messages. I want her to have hobbies and friends outside our family. But it hurts being deliberately excluded from such a big part of her life. When I try expressing this, she accuses me of being controlling and trying to ruin her independence. Am I wrong for wanting my wife to acknowledge our family's existence to her friends? Should I just accept that this fun, carefree version of her isn't meant for me? Edit, thank you for all the responses. To clarify, there's definitely no cheating happening. The studio is strictly women only and very professional. We have Life 360 and share all passwords. I trust my wife completely in that regard. I just wish she didn't feel the need to hide her real life from her friends. Update 1. First, I want to thank everyone who commented on my original post. Your perspectives helped me realize I wasn't being unreasonable in my feelings. Yesterday was the viewing party. After days of internal debate and encouragement from my sister Sarah, I decided to go. I wanted to understand this other side of my wife's life, maybe bridge the growing gap between us. I put real effort into my appearance, bought new clothes from a proper menswear store instead of my usual Amazon basics, got a professional haircut, even watched some style videos on YouTube. I wanted to show her I could fit into her new world. The moment we pulled into the venue parking lot, everything felt wrong. My wife, who had been silent during the car ride, immediately tensed up. She walked several steps ahead of me, not waiting as I locked the car. Gone was our usual comfortable closeness, she moved like she was trying to create distance between us. When we entered, the transformation was jarring. My typically reserved wife suddenly became this vivacious, bubbly person I barely recognized. She squealed, hugged everyone, laughed loudly at inside jokes. Meanwhile, I stood awkwardly by the door, not even getting an introduction. A few people gave me curious glances but mostly ignored me. The breaking point came during group photos before dinner. A young woman, probably 24 or 25, dressed like an Instagram influencer, bounced over excitedly. She looked between my wife and me before asking, "Oh my God, is this the new guy you've been talking about? He's so different from what I imagined." The room went dead silent. My wife's face drained of color. She mumbled something about me being a family friend who offered to drive her since her car was in the shop. The woman looked confused but others quickly pulled her away, changing the subject. I stood there feeling like I'd been punched in the gut. I forced myself to stay through the video viewing. My wife was genuinely talented, her movements were precise, her energy infectious. Under different circumstances, I would have been bursting with pride. Instead, I felt like an intruder watching someone else's wife. During dinner, her friends shared stories about their dating lives, club adventures, and future travel plans. They talked about my wife joining their upcoming weekend trips, teasing her about potential holiday romances. It was surreal hearing them discuss my wife's supposed single life while I sat there, her actual husband of 9 years, rendered invisible. I left early, claiming a headache. My wife didn't try to stop me or offer to come with me. I waited up for her at home, nursing a beer and trying to organize my thoughts. She came back around midnight, immediately launching into defense mode before I could speak. She claimed she enjoyed having one space where she wasn't defined by being a wife and mother. Said her dance friends saw her as just herself, not through the lens of family obligations. When I asked why just herself required pretending to be single, she got angry. She admitted telling them she was single when she first joined. It started as a simple omission that snowballed into an elaborate lie. She didn't want to be the odd one out in their young, carefree group. When I expressed how deeply this hurt me, that she'd rather deny my existence than be seen as different, she turned it around on me. Said I was trying to control her independence and resented her happiness. This past week has been tense. She still goes to classes but comes straight home after. No more dinners or social events. But she's clearly unhappy about it, sighing heavily and giving one-word answers when I try to talk. Our kids have noticed the change. Our 7-year-old asked why mommy doesn't laugh anymore. My sister Sarah thinks I should give her an ultimatum, either be honest with her friends about her real life or admit she wants out of our marriage. She says maintaining a fake single life while married is a form of emotional betrayal. Part of me agrees, I didn't sign up to be my wife's dirty secret. But another part fears pushing her will only drive her away completely. Yesterday I found a receipt in her purse for a weekend beach trip her dance group planned. When I asked about it, she claimed she wasn't going. But this morning, I noticed her packed overnight bag in the trunk while getting the kids' backpacks. Another lie. I haven't confronted her yet. Each deception makes it harder to recognize the woman I married. For now, I'm focusing on the kids and my work. But something needs to change. I can't keep living with a wife who pretends I don't exist outside our home. The worst part is, without that performance video as an excuse, I might never have discovered how deep this deception goes. I'm considering confronting her this weekend. Tell her she needs to choose, either be honest with her friends about her real life, or be honest with me about wanting out. Living in this limbo is slowly destroying us both. Edit. Many people are asking about signs of cheating. I've checked her phone and social media. With her knowledge, there's no evidence of inappropriate relationships. The lies seem to be about maintaining her image with her friends, not covering up anything else. Though at this point, the lies themselves might be enough to end our marriage. Update 2. Things got much worse after I confronted my wife about her beach trip plans. Instead of admitting to the lie, she exploded. Said I was stalking her by checking her purse, it was on the kitchen counter, and that I was trying to control her life. She left for the weekend trip anyway, turning off her location sharing. Those 2 days were eye-opening. While helping our daughter find her tablet, I discovered my wife had a second Instagram account. I know I shouldn't have looked, But after her recent behavior, I did. What I found shattered any remaining trust. In this private account, she'd been venting to her dance friends about our marriage for months. But instead of being honest, she portrayed me as a clingy ex-boyfriend she couldn't shake off. She wrote about feeling trapped, missing her freedom, and living vicariously through her single friends. Her friends commented encouraging her to fully break free and live her best life. The photos from the beach trip crushed me. My wife and her friends at bars and clubs, dressed up for nights out. Several posts mentioned meeting guys and exchanging numbers. She wasn't wearing her wedding ring in any photos. One friend commented finally acting single instead of just pretending. When she returned Sunday night, I was waiting with her packed bags. I'd spent the weekend moving her things to our guest room. She broke down crying, claiming nothing happened at the beach. Said it was all just talk, fantasy roleplay to feel young again. But I'd had enough. I told her to stay with her parents until she decided what she really wanted. She finally admitted the truth. She regretted marrying young. Said she loved me and the kids but felt she missed out on her youth. Watching her single friends live carefreely made her resent our life together. Her parents called me that evening. Apparently, my wife told them a very different story, that I was controlling and jealous, trying to stop her from having friends. I sent them screenshots from her secret Instagram. They were shocked. Her mom apologized, saying they had no idea she was living this double life. The hardest part was telling our kids mommy needed a break to figure things out. Our oldest asked if it was his fault. Our daughter cried for hours wanting her mom. The youngest keeps asking when she's coming back. Each question feels like a knife in my chest. My wife texts daily asking about the kids but barely acknowledges me except to argue about money. She claims she needs space to find herself but still expects me to handle all household expenses while she stays with her parents. When I mentioned selling our house to split assets, she panicked. Apparently finding herself didn't include losing her comfortable lifestyle. Her dance friends have been messaging me nasty things since she left, calling me controlling and abusive. I blocked them all. My wife actually had the nerve to complain that I was cutting off her support system. I reminded her that her support system was built on lies about our marriage. I've contacted a divorce lawyer. He says her social media posts claiming to be single and denying our marriage could help my case, especially regarding custody. I never wanted this outcome, but I can't stay married to someone who's ashamed of our life together. Some people suggested marriage counseling. But how do you rebuild trust with someone who created an entire fake life because they regretted choosing you? The woman I married, who was excited to build a life together, doesn't exist anymore. Maybe she never did. Edit. Several people asked about evidence of physical cheating during the beach trip. At this point, it doesn't matter. The lies and emotional betrayal are enough. I don't recognize the person my wife has become, and I'm not interested in competing with a fantasy single life she's created. Update 3. A lot has happened since my last update. My wife moved back home after 2 weeks at her parents', crying and promising changes. She deleted her secret Instagram, quit the dance studio, and even suggested marriage counseling. For a moment, I almost believed we could fix things. But living together again showed how deeply our problems ran. She became depressed and withdrawn, clearly resenting having to give up her other life. She'd stare at her phone, probably missing her dance friends and the freedom they represented. When I suggested she find a different dance studio or hobby we could do together, she snapped that I was trying to control her activities again. The counseling sessions exposed more issues. She admitted feeling trapped by motherhood and marriage responsibilities. Said she loved our kids but missed her independence. When the counselor asked about her future goals, all her answers involved traveling solo or living abroad, nothing including me or our children. The final straw came last month. Our oldest had a major school performance. My wife was distant and checking her phone throughout. Later, I discovered she'd been texting her dance friends about missing their upcoming showcase. She chose to mentally check out of our son's big moment because she was sulking about dance. That's when I knew she'd never be fully present in our family life again. She moved out permanently last week. We're proceeding with the divorce. I've requested primary custody since she's shown limited interest in daily parenting. Surprisingly, she agreed easily. She's planning to move back to Malaysia after the divorce, saying she needs to rediscover herself in her home country. The kids are struggling, especially our daughter who idolized her mom. I've arranged therapy for them and I'm trying to maintain their routines. My sister Sarah has been amazing, helping with childcare and bringing meals. Our parents have stepped up too, ensuring the kids know they're loved despite their mom's choices. Sometimes I question if I could have prevented this by ignoring the red flags. Maybe if I'd let her continue her double life, our family would still be intact. But I realized that would have only delayed the inevitable while damaging my self-respect. Last night, my wife texted asking if we could remain friends for the kids. I declined. I'll co-parent civilly, but I can't be friends with someone who is willing to erase our life together the moment something more exciting came along. I deserve better than being someone's regret. Looking back, maybe there were signs I missed. Her hesitation about having our third child, her comments about friends from college still being single, her growing obsession with looking younger. Or maybe she just changed, and I wasn't part of the future she wanted anymore. For now, I'm focusing on being the best dad I can be. The kids and I have started new traditions: Saturday morning pancakes, weekly game nights, dance parties in the kitchen. Life is different, but we're adapting. Sometimes different turns out better than you expected. To everyone who supported me through this, thank you. Your comments helped me stay strong when I was tempted to accept less than I deserved. Sometimes the hardest part of loving someone is knowing when to let them go. Edit, for those asking, yes, my wife still has visitation rights. She sees the kids every other weekend, though lately she's been canceling more often. I'm documenting everything for potential future custody adjustments. The kids deserve parents who actively choose to be in their lives.